It's common nowadays for people to talk about following their passions and searching for their purpose, but it's actually quite a new phenomenon that we've been able to select our careers, pick our hobbies, and create our own unique paths. When we feel like we haven't found that it thing, we can equate this to some sort of failure. Or when we do find a passion and it flatlines, we start to feel like our world is ending. And what we want to do is stop looking for our passion and follow the energy within us instead. And when we don't do that, it can put us in a mini crisis that has us spinning into some existential meltdown for far too long. It's easy to lose sight of the original reason why we were passionate about something in the first place when we've been doing that thing for a while, or we realize that there wasn't really a motive to begin with. So we have to take a step back from our actions and peel back the layers to get underneath to understand what it is that's going on. And it's important to remember that we all go through this. Over time, our passions plateau when the hard work kicks into any project, especially when we're dedicating a large amount of time to it. Passion is important, don't get me wrong, but it does ebb and flow. And if we're only dependent on that one emotional sensation, we're setting ourselves up for following an illusion that's going to feel like failure. And it's the same as saying that I can only be in a relationship that only feels good. And when things get difficult or they don't always feel in this blissful state, I'm going to assume that something is wrong. And even worse, I'm going to assume that I should be walking away from it. We all want to feel passion, but there are other energies to experience, and that's just as important. And we have to learn how to listen to our bodies and where to put our attention and our actions in the right place and know what's happening inside of us. If we have strong intentions to begin with around what it is that we want, we're going to be able to develop a deeper sense of knowing and where our energy is pulling us towards and what that means. And it's also important to remember that over time, we're going to change. And what was once exciting and fresh to us and felt new, over time, when we keep doing that, it's going to start to feel normal. It's going to start to feel like a routine. And it even might get a little mundane because we've plateaued or we've learned something that we needed to learn. And we've gotten so used to having things in our society be a commodity that we feel like everything's just disposable when we're done with it. So when something doesn't seem like it's working or we don't like it, we think that the first solution is to just simply discard it. We might think that it's done and it's time to find something new. And maybe that is the case. Or it might just be that we just have to evolve it into something else. And maybe it's an indicator that we need to change and not start from scratch. Either way, we really want to pay attention to our energy. And it's not an emotional state in this instance. It's a little bit different. It's more about being able to balance what's on your mind and where those little sparks of joy want to take you to move forward. And that's the energy that we want to follow. We want to pursue that enthusiasm when it pulls us towards something. And that's especially when we want to move through our to-do list or when there's something hard that we have to do and there's a task that we want to tackle, we still want to find that energy to get really excited and determined to make that thing happen. And so if you're kind of thinking, well, what if I don't feel any sparks of joy? What if I don't feel like my energy is pulling me towards something? How do I move forward and navigate? So I'm going to suggest a couple things. One, I would make time to get bored. And I know this sounds a little silly, but if you're able to create some space and allow for time to just let your mind ruminate through what might be interesting, you might start to see what pops up in your mind. You might start to see what stirs you and piques your interest. And sometimes, we just have to allow things to like surface to the top that sound interesting. We might need to see if there's a place that we might want to check out and visit that seems just vaguely interesting. And what we're doing is trying to build some momentum so that we can start to spark something even more. And we just sort of ruminate around and see what happens. The second suggestion I would have for you is to clean your house. Now, hear me out on this one. A lot of times when we are in the same environment for too long, we get stale and we get stagnant. So what we want to do is we want to clean out that energy. We want to clean out the space and it will very quickly affect you. And who doesn't love a clean house, right? So when you're cleaning the house and you get everything fresh, or you just need to open some windows and get a new breeze that comes in, it actually really will help create a new outlook that will come through, I promise. There's always going to be one, and it's going to allow maybe new thinking to come through, and it's going to help you to see where it is that you want to put your energy and where you want to follow it. Trying to find your passions externally is kind of like asking someone else to tell you about who you are. And while we can all benefit from guidance and help to understanding ourselves, I've definitely done that. This is pretty much an inside job, and it needs to come from within. So we want to find ways and hacks that help us and also give us time to rest. Sometimes if we're overthinking or we're trying to do too much, it's not going to allow those insights to come in. So being able to do either nothing at all to let something come in, or do something really rote like cleaning a house and doing repetitive action will also allow things to come in. So let those, like when they come in, let those energetic tugs pull you towards something. And they don't really have to be a big, grandiose idea. When we talk about purpose, when we talk about trying to find our passions, we think it has to be something along the lines of saving the world. And that's really just not the case. Like the only thing you need to save is yourself. And what you really want to do is find little ways to do that. So think about keeping it small, keeping it attainable so that you actually go do the thing and you know how to move forward. And that's really the goal. And that you're just learning how to listen to and follow that energetic flow, and you're building the momentum and you keep going. So where does your energy want to take you? Allow yourself to go there, even if it feels silly at first. And I want to give you some quick rules to remember as you're trying to practice this and follow your energy. And hopefully the goal is that you're bringing about creative sparks of interest that come from within. So when you're listening inside and you're trying to figure out what it is and where you want to go, or trying to get those ideas, rule number one, don't worry about who's going to say something to you. It's your energy. Rule number two, don't worry about what others might think. It's not your business. Rule number three, don't worry about when there will be an outcome. The timing is out of your control. Rule number four, don't worry about where to look for it. It's about moving through the process. Rule number five, don't worry about why your energy is pulling you in a direction that seems foolish. Follow it anyway. Rule number six, don't worry about how it will benefit you. Following it is the benefit. So I hope this was helpful. Go make a dent in the world. Follow that energy wherever it wants to take you. And eventually that passion is going to spring forward. And you're going to find a purpose, and it might just be there waiting for you, and it had been waiting for you the whole time. So allow yourself to move into that vital flow of energy. And before you know it, you're going to be fully in your authentic self. Thank you for being here, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.